days or weeks? Days. Okay, not hours. Days. Weekdays. So what we did yesterday were only 22 steps until we reached the result. We had to use some workarounds because the SADA instance is just a test environment. But of course, if you have a serious project, you can run your own instance, and there are a lot of people who are able to help you so that you can use the text you edited in a environment that you know and that you control. So which of the 22 steps did you find the most easy? Probably the first one. Okay. So if I'm asking you who got to the end yesterday, who saw the results that we were showing on screen, meaning that there was a correspondence between the manuscript and the text. Who got that far? 1, 2, yeah, I definitely know. Yeah.
What do you mean by the correspondence?
Yes.
The synaptic view between the image and the transcription on the website.
On the website. On the website. The results.
More or less.
Yes. More or less, but
So a handful of people.
We could, but it was like the most difficult part.
Right.
I mean, for example, I didn't understand why we had to introduce the other
credentials.
The credentials. Yes, we didn't know.
It is explained in the document. I think a bit downstairs. Because we didn't store the data, the image data in the text in the exist database, but somewhere else, which has several advantages, but also this great disadvantage of having to insert new credentials.
That, for example, if we would like to do it alone, yes, we would have to introduce that credentials. Others, we would have to write you, or what?
This is a known issue to us because our account management is based on academic accounts, user accounts, and so every account is connected to a person, is linked to a person. So we need a real live person to provide a TextGrid and area account due to some laws and regulations in Germany and things like that. So, but your account usually is used for editing data, providing data, and you have some rights probably to delete files and to upload files and things like that. And to get the image into the digital edition into the SADA website, you should be able to log in with an account that does not have that role, that is not able to delete things, that don't have the right to edit some things, just to see, to view, and to get the data, but not to edit anything. So this is because of some security restrictions and things like that. Yeah, it's
so
hard to describe without going into details.
And then we should write you if we want to do that, or if there's something that you can do alone. If you're home, I mean, if you have this problem, should I write you?
You don't run into this problem if you use your own server for the SADA instance. If you download our software package, you can find in the TextGrid manual a link to the SADA software package which provides the server. You can install it on your local machine, and use the Access database on your local computer. If you do it this way, you don't need to. You can enter your own credentials because it's secure. It's your computer, and you're responsible for your own things. For things you do
Sorry,
there.
no. I would really not leave my credentials on, also not on my own local instance, because I'm not sure.
It's not running all the time. You just start it up if you want to preview something for development, for previewing things, not for production. No, just for test cases on the local machine. So there's something I like to show you that probably gives an overview over the things I described before. Yeah. Oh, do you know the file name of the architecture sketch?
Searchable on the
Yeah. On the homepage. Architecture and standards. No.
Search.
Navigator image here. Das so schnell nicht.
All right. We don't happen to find it now, but the important thing to understand is that TextGrid is there to provide a reliable infrastructure to edit collaboratively, to build digital editions collaboratively in a TNI environment. And what happens afterwards, you can rely on that thing. And what happens afterwards with Sade, you don't have to use Sade, you can use whatever you want. that's totally up to you, and there are many possibilities to to take it from there. But what we try to show is a possible workflow, and that's also why it's always good to have technicians here and also philologists who are working from both ends. And that's also where we wanted to get to, to communicate with you, with the technicians, what you would do differently, or what your standards are, or what your data is, and also with the philologists, who were the main, the protagonists yesterday, because they, in the end, have to decide how their edition will look like. What they annotate and what they want to appear on the screen or in an edition.
What are the other possibilities apart from SATA?
I mean, if you have TI documents, you can write your own XSLT sheet and put it on your homepage, and that's just one way to make it easier.
There's like a way. So it's not a plugin, it's not pre-prepared, because the problem is the non-specialist in computer science people which wants to show something, but with the TI, and they need to have like a tool or something like that. So SATA is made for that, but are there similar things or no?
Really, any style sheet that you come up with, there are some.
During the last years, there were several attempts to create publication frameworks for TI documents and data. So I guess it started nearly 10 years ago at a project from London King's College called XMod, which was based on XSLT style sheets. For example, there's a digital edition on Jane Austen's works that is created with XMod, and it was prepared to be a generic publication framework, but the edition the Jane Austen edition is the only example for the usage of this. So then the Berlin-Brandenburg Academy of Science started with this SADA project and used SADA in different digital edition projects. So some editions on correspondence, some historic documents. Now there is a new tool called Synoptics, which is I cannot tell much about Synoptics. I did not have the chance to review it, but it's not for the Access database, it's for the base X database, but it's also designed to be a generic TI publication framework. And nevertheless, there are the TI style sheets, the generic ones, that offers a preview, but they comes with a kind of a disclaimer from the TI that they do not represent a view of TI documents as the text encoding initiative wants them to be. So it's just a recommendation, it's just an example, but a very good one. You can access and use those TI style sheets, for example, with the Oxygen XML editor. But if you use the TextGrid laboratory, you can just open the XML editor, and there's a kind of a tab icon on the bottom. So there's design, source, and the last one is preview. If you click on preview, the style sheets will be applied to your document. So you get a kind of a preview of a kind of a HTML page, web page that contains your document. So, but all in all, the digital editions created with TI are more diverse, so that generic approaches are hard to create. So basically, all in all, every project has to develop or customize style sheets. Yeah.
But not any project has a computer science people or budget for that, and that's
yes.
universal solution would be great, but it's not valid for everybody.
There's a new approach with the TI Simple project. They created an application that's available for XSLT processor or the Access database, and this is designed to enable editors from philologists to prepare outputs with just some modifications and some kind of CSS code they have to enter into kind of configuration file. So, okay, that's, you have to learn a bit CSS, but this is a way to prepare a website or prepare documents with less time consuming.
Sorry, what's the name of the first publication system you mentioned? XWord?
XMOD.
XMOD. XMOD. XMOD.
What we wanted to show you the day before yesterday in the user stories was really the two extremes. Matthias showed and introduced to you the Fontana edition, which is really a showcase, not only for TextScript, but for TI-based editions. And I know Matthias very well. He's, next to my office, so I know how much time he invests, and that's why the result is looking so good. On the other end, there comes a researcher like and I want to do something like network analysis. So what is important for me is not necessarily the edition, like how it looks or the style sheets, but the underlying data, the TI. I need this data. I need the annotations. I need all the stuff that was enriched by people or automatically. That's what interests me, because that enables me to do my research and to find out things that nobody has seen before, probably. I mean, that's the goal, at least. So that is, that's the big upside of all these things that we're doing. It is much more complex and difficult to build a digital edition than it was before building a print edition. But the benefits are so much, they're so much bigger than before, And that's what you have to keep in mind all the time. For example, if you have something like a Fontana edition and you're just talking with philologists, they're not really interested in, the annotations or maybe that's, on the second or third step. They want a nice representation that you can also print. But a researcher would always be more interested in what they can do with the data and how the data and, the TI or the structure or the database or whatever you have enables them to do their research. So you always have to keep in mind, in order to build a good digital edition, what people might be doing with it, be it the philologists or readers even, or digital readers, distant readers, or researchers. And that's really also something that we wanted to show. And it's complicated, It's not that everybody can visit a workshop and then everything works out of the box. We all spent the last years doing these things. And that's why we have to collaborate, and are always happy to collaborate in workshops and also in research. And that's why I think this work has to continue. And that's also why I'm glad that you're all here and can ask questions. Also to tell us and show us that we are not there yet. There are still things that we have to do, or that we didn't think of, or that we made, in a wrong way or in a way that's not so convenient. And that's why these user meetings and workshops are so important. Yeah. Hard to say something like after a speech like this. Sorry.
There's some question in the chat.
Nee. Achso.
So there's a question in our chat room. So if you already have a data set, if you already have some XML files and want to get started improving the encoding, it's probably nearly the same workflow we did yesterday. So you can just upload the whole folder, the whole data set via this import tool we used in the morning, and then you can start improving your tag set. But it's useful if you created a schema before that may guide you during the encoding, and can work that works together with the XML editor. If you have images in your data set as well, you can upload them just together with the XML files. And if you use some reference of the images, for example in a TI facsimile attribute, and you use the file names in your original XML document, and you upload the same files, those links will be rewritten. That all works in the TextGrid infrastructure. So the file names will be replaced by the TextGrid URI, and so you can go on working with your data set. So, what we have seen yesterday was just one method to publish data in the TextGrid environment. There is another one, the publication into the TextGrid repository. I'm sure we did not visit the TextGrid repository, and yesterday I did not tell about it, but you can view it via this URL, textgrid.rep.de, or just click on the link on the TextGrid.de website. What you can find here is the largest collection of German language literature. All documents are in TI files, also in a very basic encoding, but you also can publish some own editions into this environment. We have there's a collection of schemas from the Sendari project. We also can find a project colleagues from the Academy of Science provide here. Here you can find some medieval German language texts.
This repository is just for the texts that are created with the TextGrid laboratory, or it's open to any text TI tag?
It's open to any TI document, or also binary data, 3D images, for example. You can upload. It's open for everything.
Question, sorry. Is it something similar? Maybe it has nothing to do, but in goals, like the Tapas project?
The approach is a bit different. Well, the approach of the Tapas project is to collect what people are doing in the TI world, and they will create a repository, or it's now in a productive, stable version, I guess, where everyone can upload data, and they will review it and will try to provide some basic visualization and style sheet, but they need manpower to create the XSL style sheets and things like that. And what we are doing here is more with a focus on long-term preservation of the data and the documents, and we just offer the TI style sheets, the generic ones, or you can include own XSLT style sheets if you want. So then you have to provide them on your own. But our focus here is on providing a good repository that, for example, offers an persistent identifiers. They will be created automatically during the publishing process. So you have PIDs here. We stored some metadata according to our own TextGrid metadata schema. Yeah, offer some.
Is it available? This schema? What kind of schema are you using? Metadata?
Behind the XML documents and the TI schemas and things like that, things you're doing in XML, within the XML file, there's a metadata schema behind that is based on the functional requirements for bibliographic records. And so the basic idea is, I'm sorry, I have to look up for the metadata cheat sheet. So the basic idea is that every edition and every text is the representation of an idea, of a more abstract object. We call it's named a work object. So every printed edition and every manuscript an author wrote is just a manifestation of an idea an author wants to provide. So this is the basis for this Ferber metadata schema, and this is implemented in the TextGrid. That's why we have different types of folders called aggregations, editions, and collections. So in for example, if you create a collection, you have to add a metadata called collector, because there's some curator, someone who's responsible for the collection. So if you provide an edition of a kind of, for example, a library from a medieval monastery, for example, this is a kind of a collection that monks collected the books in their library. So probably this is an example for a collection, or if you will create a digital representation of things you see in a museum or something like this. It's more a collection. There are some more references and from a digital edition. So every work is represented in an edition. So that's why there's this edition item, and in the digital environment, probably you provide your TI XML code within a folder from the metadata from the type of edition. It's a bit complicated. I left it out. I skipped this yesterday because we want to go through the whole workflow, and this is a more detailed view into the TextGrid environment. So, for example, what you can see in the repository here, those items are collections. We collected, for example, works of Shakespeare, and then we have just the basic versions of our folders, the aggregation, so the tragedies, and then we come to the type of editions. So Romeo and Juliet is an edition, and this edition contains an XML file, so our digital representation of the idea William Shakespeare wants to provide with this text, and we can how to get an example for the work object. Now the work object is hidden here, but it's a requirement if you want to publish a text in this text repository. You have to add a work object, but it only contains metadata according to our schema. Okay, this is really a complex topic. So what you can see here is that some of the metadata, some metadata is required on publication. So in this file, I have to look for the agent. So probably the author of the author of a text, or the one who had the idea to create a text is required. The license statement was required as well. Here, the rights holder statement is required for the publication. Okay, but there was a second question on the usage of the text grid repository. So you probably it's a good idea to use the text grid lab to create some data, edit some data, and then click the red publish button. So but only project manager are able to publish. I guess I told it yesterday. And we also offer a tool that is able to skip the text grid lab, so to upload data directly to the repository. And there you can use, for example, a sandbox as well if you just want to get a preview of your data. So let me show you an example. Take some time to create the index here, but I have to go back to our edition on Fontana's notebooks again, and the synoptic view. So, for example, if you apply the generic TI style sheets to one of our notebooks, XML documents, something like this is the result, which is not very usable. And within our own edition, it's it will look like this here. So the basic idea is to store data in the text grid repository for long-term archiving, for referencing to the XML object via the persistent identifier, and there are also some features provided here, like the Mirador viewer, so where you can view your facsimiles, the images you provide. And there are also some interfaces we provide with this repository. There's a REST interface, for example, and an API that is documented in our wiki.
Which is the difference between the sandbox and the repository? So the sandbox is a place where to upload the text? Or?
The sandbox is to get a preview how the result will look like if you publish to the text-free repository, and also we are able to delete things from the sandbox. We are not able to delete anything from the text-free repository. So be careful when you hit the red button.
Which are the requirements for users to upload? Because I guess that you have like conditions. If I go to your repository and I want to upload a collection of text, which are the requirements that I need to do that? So.
The requirements were, well, if you basically you can upload whatever you want to,
but put a kind of metadata or a kind of classification structure.
So if you use this this import tool or the TextGrid Lab, the folder structure would be converted to our metadata schema. So the folders will be aggregations and things like that, and some technical metadata is created automatically, and you also can, let me just go back.
Where is the import tool?
This was this file import from local drive option, or just drag drop from your file browser on your machine to the import tool. Some metadata is created automatically, like the URI and the MIME types of the documents and things like that.
That's when you publish to SADE, or is it?
No, when you import the file, or when you create a new one, then some technical.
Before publishing it to SADE.
Yeah.
So it's automatically uploaded to the repository.
It's uploaded to the repository. Yes. Let me go back to this graphic. I'm sure there is an English version of this one, but I just found the German one. Well, the TextGrid repository is the kind of our storage layer for everything. So there's a public area that is represented in the TextGrid repository. So the website. Not the sandbox, obviously, but here. The TextGrid repository, this is a website front end for the public index in the repository, and there's this private area where you can prepare your files, where you can share with colleagues, work collaboratively, and things like that. So when you want to publish your data, some algorithms and routines will apply to, so the metadata will be checked, the persistent identifiers will be generated. Some more metadata on long-term archiving and long-term archiving services. I hope you will not ask me about these 2 points. I'm not very familiar with those 2 things. But there's the front end, the TextGrid Lab is just one client we offer. There are some Java clients you can integrate in your own software if you want to. You can use the import tool called Colibri. Too many open tabs. The import tool Colibri, where you can just prepare a folder on your local machine with all the data you want to import, and you can configure this Java tool to integrate some metadata you already have. So, for example, if you use the TextGrid Lab for importing an image, the technical metadata will be created automatically, but and the name is generated from the file name on your machine. But for example, the kind of a rights holder you have to add on yourself. So if you import a large collection of documents, you probably don't want to go to open every single document, replace the title, replace some metadata. So with this tool, you can just configure this the software to prepare further metadata as you like. Or for example, you also can use XPath to point to a specific metadata you have in your TI document, and then the metadata will be grabbed out of the TI document and will be included into this really complex schema. Okay, there's another question in the chat.
There have been some more questions in the chat. The most recent one asking if it is possible to publish to PDF, which is of course an important requirement for many academic editions. And there are some transformations out already from TI to LaTeX or PDF. And I also know some colleagues who are doing this. But how would you go along in TextGrid with this?
Well, in the TextGrid repository, we offer conversion routine to ebooks according to the EPUB standard, which basically consists of a zipped file with HTML files. But I think there are no routines to PDF or LaTeX. Ugo, you may correct me if I'm wrong. Is there any conversion to PDF or LaTeX within the repository?
There has been some experimental conversion also to ebook. I'm not sure what the status on this.
Okay.
It should come back, I hope, and that should be provided by the repository page.
Okay.
But that's really the message that we're trying to send out, that since we're using standards, something like TI, everybody can come and write their own transformation. But of course, in former years, we always tried to address the questions that academics had and integrate it into the TextGrid environment. But of course, nobody can integrate everything. So that's what the nice thing is about standards, that you can still build your own things around this or use tools that are out there. And especially for TI to PDF transformation, because this is a problem that many people have, there are many solutions out already, and you can pick the one that you like best.
Yeah. And of course you can provide PDF files and upload them to the TextGrid repository as well. So we are, I told before, we are not restricted to XML data. We can include binary files as well. We cannot offer a special web interface, for example, if you come with special data, but then you are able to access your data via the REST interface and all. Yeah, for example, the persistent identifier that is created for your document is a very good benefit. So you can transform your data to PDF, probably with the help of the TI style sheets that are able to convert TI to PDF, and then just upload the PDF file to the repository as well. You can publish it as well. Also, for example, if you use a special font, a special set of characters and things like that, sure, you have to have the license, and you should be able to, the license should be in a way that you are able to redistribute the font. But if you want to upload those things and preserve them in the TextGrid repository, you're welcome. question?
Yeah, there's another question. I'm trying to sum it up. There's been an attempt to edit 3 different versions of a text. I think it's a law codex. Is that correct? So there are 3 or several versions of a text that differ from each other. And of course you can edit them with the TI and with TextGrid or any other framework. And the question now is, how do we start researching the differences, for example, or just finding those differences? And there are, generic solutions out there like Collate X or Juxta. Is that how you pronounce it? Juxta? Or Juxta? I don't know. So how would you go along with this? I mean, could SADE provide a possibility, since you can have synoptic views also of different editions, or?
No, well, the first stage is to publish the text, external text, the transcriptions, possibly the facsimiles. There is a very long book, 10.2 megabytes already, everyone. And we are staying only on the printed versions. Later on, we'll go into the manuscript versions. What I want to publish to make accessible is the image and the text.
Yes.
And later on, enrich it. And the first stage, the enrichment will be in Latin terms, place names and personal names, because there are many quotations from many texts. So make to SADE the flat, it was flat, the label we were doing yesterday late afternoon. I can't remember now the name. Those search facility of metrics with
faceted search.
Faceted search. That's the thing I would like to add on the first stage for this text. How can I set? Should I divide the whole work in small portions to make it easier, as Humanities with her poems?
Well,
I have to think on the printed page and
yes.
As always, the answer should be it depends on. Well,
yeah.
It depends on the encoding you have. So you have a single TI file that
at present just one single file with the whole text.
With the whole text and 10 megabytes. So it's definitely a good idea to split it at least in the visualization. So what we can see here is probably the same example. We have a single TI file for a whole notebook. So it's not 10 megabyte, but
I can divide it into 7 books, because it's divided into 7 books.
Okay, yeah, probably. Probably, yeah, every volume, 1 TI file. But you don't have to. What I like to promote is that you use that you prepare a good TI document. So, for example, if the metadata information in the TI header will apply to every single book, then probably it's a good idea to prepare a single document. Yeah, so that you don't have to repeat yourself in the TI header many times. So for every volume, for every issue, and what we've done here is just a visualization of single pages, but the XML document contains the whole notebook. So I just copy out some page, visualize this page, and so we can click through the edition, page by page. But the XML file, we can look it up here. Contains the whole notebook. Oops. And not only a single page. You can prepare it like this, but there you have to prepare your own style sheets, own XSLT style sheets or routines. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any more critical feedback that we could use?
Another question. If I use SADA, sorry, we got it in German, all labels. It's available in English, because one thing is to have it in English, another in German.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for Spanish.
Of course. No. We already translated some parts to Spanish as we set up your website. So
Yeah, but very small.
very small parts. But when you register this SADA, may I show it? When you register for your account on this server, you got the link to the configuration file we edited yesterday.
Yes.
So there is a tool called Excite. Yesterday we worked here to prepare this configuration file, and let's have a look at my own project here.
I know, because yesterday we playing with Exit. In the title of the entry we make for metrics, and
we
put it in Spanish. But that's the little thing.
Yeah, that's the way you have to add the title for the facets. But within your own workspace on the server, so for example, here we are, I try to zoom in here. So for example, here we are in my own project, and there's a kind of a folder called templates. And I can click and open page index, and here you find basically an HTML file, and you can, here, instead of contact in German, you can write contact.
That's the solution.
So that there you can prepare your own template. You can integrate a template as you like. If you are not comfortable with the one we provide on the server, you just upload your own one. It's there's some.
I need a computer science guy. Do I?
No, I think a designer should be able to handle this as well. But if you just want to translate single items.
My prospective readers will be Spanish-speaking people,
Yeah,
German
of
speaking.
course.
And if you get lost with English, just think in German.
Yeah, of course. There's also the possibility to include markdown files. So you can just write markdown and publish markdown files on this server. Oops. So do we have any markdown index? I use HTML in most cases. Yeah, but here we are. So XML documents. You can translate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Long-term archiving standards we talked about, obviously.
Sorry.
Exists.
Con lo que trabajas es con
Okay, so a break is scheduled for 11:30. I'm not sure if we want to increase this session and continue.
Yes, I was curious. It's about exist and excite. So excite will be the interface to work with exist, or it's just I don't know.
Yeah, it's a developing environment, integrated development environment. That's why IDE. It's a kind of an interface where you can program the database, where you can edit data. It's a tool for Exist. Yeah, it has nothing to do with TextGrid. It's just for accessing the data and the xquery routines in the database. Exist usually ships with Excite, and with some more tools are available in Exist. So you can use Excite for uploading files to the database, but if you don't have any routines that should be applied on the files, probably nothing will happen. So it's more the developing part for developers. Database. Back end.
So should we call it? It's 11:30.
Are there any urgent questions? Urgent good questions?
Because at 12 we are up for the wrap-up debate, why Humanities research needs international digital infrastructures. So we can meet here again in 30 minutes? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.